Have you ever experienced a loss of a job or a breakup and your well-meaning friends say things like, it could be worse, look on the bright side, or good vibes only? Or they start singing, don't worry, be happy. Or when a loved one dies, these well-meaning friends say things like, he's in a better place, or, she's no longer in pain. And all you want to do is scream, because in addition to feeling, the loss of this loved one or the job, you now feel bad about feeling bad. Stay tuned and I'll show you why these niceties can be harmful, and then some great phrases to replace them with. But you got to stay all the way to the end of the video. For those of you that don't know me, I am Vismaya Rubin, founder of Living in Gratitude Today, teacher, speaker, best-selling author, but my favorite role is that of a gratitude gangster. What? If you're not yet subscribing to my channel, please click the subscribe button below, click the little bell, and that way you get up-to-date notifications every time I post a new video. So why do these statements make us feel so awful? And it's because they make you feel like what you're feeling, either the sadness, the overwhelm, the loss, is wrong. And somewhere as a society, we've gotten to the point that we think that everybody should be positive 100% of the time, that when we express negative, feelings, we're a Debbie Downer or we're negative Nellies. It's not true. This overzealous need to fill social media with positive vibes and well wishes and encourage people to push aside their true feelings is really quite harmful. And sometimes being positive can actually be toxic. According to Dr. Jamie Zuckerman, a clinical psychologist in Pennsylvania, toxic positivity is the assumption, either by oneself or others, that despite a person's emotional pain of a difficult situation, they should have a positive mindset or positive vibes. So think about that. We just, we're in the middle of a pandemic. People are losing their jobs. They're not sure, or they're being furloughed. They're not sure how they're going to pay their rent. They're not sure how they're going to get food. They're dealing with small children who are not in school. And people are saying, suck it up, it's okay, things are going to get better. Learn a new skill. When really what they're experiencing is absolutely normal to experience what they're experiencing. Whatever they're feeling, the fear and the frustration, that is an absolute normal feeling to have during those circumstances. When my dad died, my brother and I we stopped by my brother's synagogue, and the rabbi saw us and he came over and he's like, I'm so sorry for your loss. And my brother says, well, he's in a better place. And the rabbi looked at us and he says, no, he's not in a better place. A better place, or the best place for your loved one, is where that person is loved. So no, he's not. And again, I'm sorry for your loss. And it almost made me smile, like I was crying, but they were happy tears, and at the same time there was something inside of me that was smiling, because he's absolutely right. A few years ago, I read a book by Rabbi Rami Shapiro, and I believe it was called In the Way of Solomon. And Rami was talking about this woman who had lost her child, a very young child, and people again were consoling her, and they were trying to do the right thing, but they kept saying, God has a plan and everything happens for a reason. With your best intentions, those are not the phrases to say to a mourning mother, right? So we have to realize that, sometimes crappy things happen because sometimes crappy things happen. And rather than give this idea of toxic positivity or spewing these toxic positivity phrases, which I know come from the most loving places, we sometimes have to stop and really pay attention to what it is we're saying. So, we need to start allowing people to feel bad when they're dealing with challenges. And we need as a society to understand that it is okay to not be okay. It's okay to have those feelings. Now, I'm not saying stew in it forever and, stop your life and don't ever feel positive again. But what I'm saying is that when you're going through a challenging situation, it's okay, it's normal to feel maybe a little frustrated or sad. Those are normal feelings. So imagine if you were a pressure cooker and you didn't have any way to release your steam. You didn't have that little valve that, you could turn one way and the steam comes out. What would happen? You would explode. It's the same thing in human beings. If you continuously invalidate your feelings or your emotions, if you hide or mask them, judge yourself for having them, or force yourself to feel positive when you're feeling anything but positive, you have created a recipe for disaster. And you too will explode. Maybe not that same way. But what happens is when you dismiss these negative feelings, you create stress in your body. So you're already stressed out, and then you're pushing these feelings aside, you're pushing them down. I don't feel this way. And what starts to happen is it causes disease in the body. Think about the word disease, dis-ease. And what happens, it manifests in the form of anxiety, depression, or a physical illness. So what can you do about it? What can you do when you're feeling all of those feelings, when you're feeling anxious or sad or frustrated or scared? Acknowledge it. Acknowledge the pain. That's the first step. Acknowledge the pain. I'm sad. I'm scared. I'm frustrated. I'm feeling like I'm at a loss. Normal. The second thing is be okay with not being okay. So I acknowledge these feelings, and the second thing I'm going to do is I'm going to be okay with not being okay. Instead of saying I should feel happy, I should feel joyful. No. It's okay to not be okay. And then what's another thing you can do? Allow yourself to cry if you feel like crying. If you need to have a scream, give yourself a permission to scream. Scream into a pillow. Punch the pillow. Give yourself an outlet, a way to let it out. The fourth thing you can do is amp up your gratitude practice. Now, before you go into a frenzy, wait a minute, Vismaya, gratitude practice, toxic positivity, aren't they the same? Absolutely not. You can be experiencing sadness and at the same time experience absolute gratitude. And I'll give you an example. When my dad was dying, I was sad. I knew that he had a very limited amount of time left, but I was grateful because I was working from home and I had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with him right before he died. And I had an opportunity to have conversations with him that I might not have had if I was working a 9-to-5. So I was sad and I was grateful because I had the opportunity to be with him. So again, amp up that gratitude practice. We're not talking about toxic positivity. We're talking about really allowing yourself, even in the midst of challenges, to see the things that you're grateful for, to really take in those delicious moments. And the last thing is listen to people when they start to share with you how they're feeling, and stop using phrases like toxic positivity. Like, stop using the toxic positivity phrases like good vibes only, suck it up, quitting isn't an option. Allow people the space to say what they need. So if this was helpful, stay tuned for the next video. They come out every week. I am Vismaya Rubin, your favorite gratitude gangster. What? And for those of you that stayed on to the very, very end, as I promised you, there are going to be a little bit of a bonus for you. So what are some things you can say to somebody who is dealing with those emotions? Because we don't want to let people stew in them, but at the same time, we don't want to invalidate their feelings. So when somebody's feeling really bad, instead of saying stuff like, you'll get over it, You might want to say something, I really get what you're feeling. I'm sure that, it's got to be stressful. It's got to be hard. But I know, but I believe in you. And I believe that you have the power to ultimately get through this. But the first thing you've got to do is you've got to acknowledge what that person is feeling. And, instead of saying, oh my God, you're so negative, stop being so negative. Acknowledge what that person is feeling. Wow, that's got to be really hard. I'm so sorry you're dealing with all that. Let them know that you understand that what they're feeling is real. Even if you don't agree with it, it's real for that person. So instead of saying to somebody, oh my God, always look on the bright side, yay, look for the positive. I get it. It might be really hard to see the positive in the situation. But you know what? Sooner or later, I'm sure you'll start to see, once you're out of the woods a little bit, I'm sure you'll be able to see something. I'm sure you'll be able to see the positive when you get to the other side of it. So again, I'm validating what they're feeling, and then I am giving them the opportunity to be in the space that they're being. And then I say something to them like, once you get to the other side, so I'm still throwing in a little bit of positive, but I'm not invalidating their feelings. So I really encourage you to take a look at some of these phrases. And if you're interested, put your name in the comments below and I'll be happy to send you a PDF of these different things that you can say to people. But the bottom line is this: allow people to feel what they're feeling. Allow yourself to feel what you're feeling. Toxic positivity is very dangerous. It's a killer. It really is. So again, what are some ways that you can stay or deal with those feelings when you're feeling the sadness or frustration? Acknowledge the pain. Be okay with being okay. Allow yourself to scream or cry. Amp up your gratitude practice. And then the last one is listen to people when they're sharing with you how they feel, and stop using toxic positivity phrases. Use some of the ones I just shared with you. And again, I am Vismaya Rubin, founder of Living in Gratitude Today and your favorite gratitude gangsta. What?